If you can't be alone, you have no direction. In a world where constant connection is possible and noise is everywhere, being alone has become a fear for many. We believe that our value comes from interacting, from being seen, from being liked. We fill every quiet moment with conversation, music, podcasts, or notifications. Yet, deep down, we feel lost. We don't know what we want because we've never given ourselves the space to hear our own thoughts. Dependence on others for validation is a form of weakness. Strength is forged in solitude. Modern pain is dependence and noise. We live in group chats, open offices, and shared feeds. We check our phones when we are alone in line because being with ourselves feels uncomfortable. We fear silence in conversation and keep talking to avoid it. We measure our day by the number of messages received and the likes on our posts. In this constant stream, we lose the ability to think independently. Without time alone, we become reactive to the moods and opinions around us. We drift like ships without a compass. Researchers have shown that brief periods of solitude can calm the mind and reduce high arousal emotions. In studies, participants who spent just 15 minutes alone experienced a drop in anxiety, anger, and excitement, and an increase in calmness and relaxation. Solitude allows your nervous system to reset. When you are not responding to external stimuli, your mind processes emotions and integrates experiences. This is why creative insights and clarity often emerge in the shower or during a solitary walk. By avoiding solitude, you deprive yourself of this reset and of your own insight. Solitude does not mean isolation. It is the deliberate choice to spend time with yourself. The Vikings understood this well. A warrior would sit alone on a cliff overlooking the sea, reflecting on his path. A young fighter would go into the forest to meditate before his initiation. Leaders would withdraw to consider big decisions. They didn't fear their own company. They sought it. Being alone allowed them to hear the voices of their ancestors and the whispers of the gods. It gave them direction when the world's noise was too loud. Picture a Viking walking away from the longhouse in the early morning mist. He leaves the warmth of the fire and the chatter of his comrades. He climbs a hill and sits under a tree. The only sounds are the wind and his breath. At first, his mind races with thoughts of tasks and memories. Then, as the minutes pass, his thoughts slow. He begins to notice the movement of clouds, the feel of the earth beneath him. He thinks about his purpose, his family, the challenges ahead. In this solitude, he finds answers. When he returns, he is centered and confident. The ability to be alone builds self-reliance. When you spend time by yourself, you learn to generate your own emotions instead of absorbing those of others. You discover your true tastes, not just what is popular. You hear your own intuition, which is often drowned out by external voices. People who cannot be alone often make decisions out of fear of missing out, or because they want approval. They say yes to things they don't want to do. Those who cultivate solitude make choices aligned with their values. They are less swayed by peer pressure because their sense of self is strong. Solitude is also training for adversity. In difficult moments, there will be times when you must stand alone with your decision. If you are used to relying on others, you will crumble. The Viking warrior who sat alone in the wild learned to face fear and doubt without distraction. He learned to comfort himself and to find courage within. Modern life rarely demands such moments, which is why we must create them intentionally. Spending time alone is like lifting weights for your mind. It strengthens your ability to handle stress and uncertainty. The protocol is simple: 15 minutes of solo thinking each day. Find a place where you won't be interrupted. Leave your phone behind. Sit, stand, or walk quietly. Don't meditate or force yourself to think of nothing. Simply let your mind wander. If you find yourself planning or worrying, gently guide your thoughts to bigger questions. What do I value? What do I want to build? What scares me? What excites me? Allow whatever comes up to come up. The goal is not to judge, but to observe. This practice is about reacquainting yourself with yourself. Your challenge: commit to 5 days of solitude practice. For 5 consecutive days, spend at least 15 minutes alone with no distractions. This could be in the morning, during lunch, or before bed. If 15 minutes feels too short, extend it to 30. The important part is consistency. Tell someone you trust about your challenge so they respect your solitude. After each session, write down any insights or emotions that surfaced. You may find that certain patterns of thought keep arising. This awareness is the first step to change. Expect discomfort. At first, your mind will rebel. You'll think of errands you need to run, conversations you should have, messages you could check. This is your dependency speaking. Sit through the urges. Every time you resist reaching for your phone or turning on music, you break a link in the chain of dependence. Your nervous system will calm, and you will realize that nothing catastrophic happens when you step away from the stream. On the other side of the discomfort is a spaciousness you have forgotten. Use solitude to process emotions. Without the noise of other voices, you can feel your own feelings fully. If you're sad, let yourself cry. If you're angry, let yourself feel the heat without acting on it. If you're confused, sit with the confusion. Many of us use social interactions and digital feeds to distract ourselves from feeling. That means our emotions get stuck and resurface later in unhealthy ways. The Vikings sang laments and wrote poems in solitude because they understood the value of expressing emotion alone. You don't need to write a poem, but you can allow your heart to speak. Solitude also unlocks creativity. When you're alone, your brain's default mode network activates. This is the network responsible for daydreaming and creativity. Ideas connect in ways they don't when you're focused on external stimuli. This is why many artists, writers, and inventors seek solitude. The Vikings composed poems and crafted stories during long journeys and quiet nights at sea. They wove together myths and history because their minds had the space to wander. Your own creative genius needs that space too. You might worry that taking time for yourself is selfish. It's not. It's maintenance. You cannot give your best to others if you are always depleted. Solitude fills your cup. It makes you a better partner, parent, friend, and leader because you have clarity and energy. The Vikings who retreated to think were able to lead with wisdom when they returned. They didn't see solitude as antisocial. They saw it as preparation. Explain this to people who question your practice. Those who care about you will understand. To make solitude easier, prepare your environment. Choose a place that feels safe and inspiring. It could be a park bench, a corner of your room, a rooftop. Remove digital devices from reach. You might bring a notebook to jot down thoughts. Some people find walking to be helpful because it engages the body and frees the mind. Others prefer sitting. Experiment. This is your time. The only rule is that you are alone and undistracted. Solitude does not have to be silent. You can listen to natural sounds like wind, birds, or water. The Vikings listened to waves and wind. These sounds are calming and remind you that you're part of a larger world. Avoid lyrics and dialogue because they direct your thoughts. If you live in a city, you can find a quiet corner or use earplugs. Over time, you will be able to find solitude even in a crowd, because solitude is as much a state of mind as it is a physical situation. As you practice, you may notice that being alone stirs up self-criticism. Thoughts like, "This is pointless," or "You're wasting time," may appear. Recognize these as defenses. Your mind is trying to protect you from discomfort. Thank it for its concern and return to observing. You are doing important work, building a relationship with yourself. This relationship will outlast all others. When you know yourself, you make better choices, enter healthier relationships, and weather storms with grace. On the 5th day, take stock. How do you feel? Do you find it easier to make decisions? Are you calmer? Did any insights surprise you? Did you notice patterns in your thoughts? Use these reflections to inform your next steps. Perhaps you decide to continue the practice daily. Perhaps you extend the time. The Viking Solitude rule is not a one-time challenge. It's an ongoing practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable solitude becomes, and the more guidance you receive from your inner voice. There is a reason many rites of passage involve being alone in nature. When you remove yourself from your everyday environment, your senses wake up. Colors are brighter, sounds are sharper, and time slows. You feel small in a good way, part of something vast. The Vikings undertook vision quests in the wilderness to connect with their purpose. You don't need to trek into the tundra, but spending time outdoors during your solitude sessions can deepen the experience. Let the wind clear your mind. Let the sky broaden your perspective. Solitude can also reveal how much of your identity is borrowed. When you are constantly around others, you unconsciously mirror their moods, adopt their preferences, and absorb their fears. Alone, you see what's truly yours. Maybe you realize you actually enjoy quiet mornings instead of late nights. Maybe you discover you like cooking simple meals more than dining out. Maybe you feel relieved when you're not performing a role. These discoveries help you align your life with who you are, not who you think you should be. There's an element of courage in choosing solitude. It is easier to keep busy than to face your inner world. It is easier to fill time than to confront the emptiness. But courage isn't just about swinging swords. It's about sitting still when stillness is hard. The Vikings were brave on the battlefield, but they were also brave in their minds. They faced their doubts, fears, and desires alone, so they wouldn't control them. When you sit alone, you are doing the same. You are claiming your mind as your own territory. Use your solitude sessions to practice gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive to think of others when you're alone, but gratitude expands your mind. Think of the people who have supported you, the comforts you have, the experiences you've enjoyed. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. This makes solitude feel abundant rather than barren. The Vikings often recited their blessings before meals. They knew that acknowledging abundance attracts more of it. Declare your intention below. Tell us that you will spend 15 minutes alone each day for 5 days. Share where you will go and what you hope to learn. At the end of the week, return and share your insights. Encourage others to take up the challenge. In a world addicted to noise, choosing solitude is rebellious. It is a statement that your mind is yours. Learn to be alone or stay weak. The choice is yours. You may also choose to extend this practice beyond 5 days. Many people who start a solitude practice find that it becomes a cherished part of their routine. It becomes the time when they reset, plan, and dream. Some make it a weekly ritual to spend a few hours alone in nature. Others integrate short solitude breaks into their workdays. The details don't matter as long as you keep returning to yourself. Over time, you'll notice that you are less reactive, more creative, and more decisive. You'll have direction because you hear your own compass. One practical tip for busy people: schedule your solitude. Put it in your calendar like a meeting. This signals to yourself and to others that it matters. If someone asks for that time, say you have an appointment. You do. It's an appointment with yourself. Treat it with the same respect you would treat a meeting with a client or a friend. The Vikings organized their lives around cycles of work, rest, and reflection. You can do the same by carving out non-negotiable time for solitude. As you continue this practice, you might want to bring elements of ritual into it. Light a candle when you sit down, or bring a particular stone to hold. Rituals give structure to your solitude and signal to your mind that it's time to turn inward. They anchor the practice in your body. The Vikings had rituals for everything, from eating to going into battle. Rituals make the ordinary sacred. Your solitude practice deserves that reverence. Finally, remember that solitude doesn't mean you never connect. It means you connect from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. When you know how to be alone, you bring more to your relationships. You don't need others to complete you. You choose them because they enrich you. You listen better because you've listened to yourself. You give without expecting because your own cup is full. This is the paradox. The more comfortable you are alone, the more meaningful your connections become. Many confuse solitude with loneliness. They are not the same. Loneliness is the pain of feeling disconnected even in a crowd. Solitude is the joy of connecting with yourself, regardless of who is around. When you embrace solitude, you are never truly alone because you have yourself. You can be in a room full of people and feel whole. Loneliness fades when you learn to enjoy your own company because you no longer depend on others to fill your emptiness. The fear of being alone often comes from societal conditioning. We are taught that social butterflies are successful and that a full calendar equals a full life. But a calendar packed with commitments can be a sign of avoidance. If you say yes to everything, you may be running from something. Choosing solitude forces you to confront what you avoid. It shows you that your worth is not tied to how busy you are or how many people text you in a day. It frees you from the tyranny of perpetual engagement. Interestingly, studies on loneliness show that people feel less lonely when they feel heard and understood. Solitude practice trains you to listen to yourself and to others. When you spend time alone, you learn the art of listening deeply. This translates into better listening in your relationships. When you truly hear others, they feel connected. Connection is what dissolves loneliness. So paradoxically, time alone can reduce feelings of isolation because it improves the quality of your interactions. As you close this challenge, remember that solitude is a gift you give yourself. It's a space where you are not performing, not pleasing, not comparing. It's where you meet the most important person in your life, you. The Viking Solitude rule is about reclaiming that meeting. It's about reminding yourself that you are strong enough to stand alone and kind enough to stand with others when you choose. Learn to be alone or stay weak. Choose strength.